Hi everyone, just me. I'm going to drink my electrolytes with you while I ask you a few questions and tell you about my week and what I'm planning this week. I'm drinking an electrolyte drink called Sodi. This one is 1,000 milligrams of sodium, I think it's about 260 milligrams of magnesium and some potassium. It's Australian made. It's very much like the Element, and I also drink Element. The reason that I'm drinking this is because when you don't store fluid in your muscles, this is what I think happens, your body doesn't hold fluid when you don't have carbohydrates, so you urinate a lot more, and so you have to take things like electrolytes to keep you feeling well and bright and healthy. So that's what I'm doing. This one's pineapple flavor, which I really like. It does have a few carbs, not as many as the Element. I think about 1.8, I think, and it is sweetened with stevia. It's naturally sweetened, no nasties. It's really clean electrolyte, and it's delicious. So it's kind of like my version of a soda, of a, like a fizzy drink, because I have it with mineral water. So this week I'm going to weigh in tomorrow. And I haven't done that for about 2 weeks because my scales kept annoying me because they weren't telling me what I wanted to see, which is something that as a recovering anorexic in my teens and somebody who's dealt with weight ups and downs all her life, the scales still matter to me. I'm trying to get away from that, but they still do matter for me. And I'm also going through perimenopause, so my cycle's all over the place. It's up and down. I hadn't had a cycle for 3 or 4 months, and I decided that was it, that they were finished, but my body had other ideas, and I recently got a period again after 4 months. So I think that's probably why the scales have been mucking up a little bit, going up and down. And I felt really heavy. I felt lower body heavy weight that on the carnivore diet I haven't felt for the whole time. I felt really good and light and healthy in the lower stomach area. So Monday morning I'm going to get back on the scales and see how I'm progressing. And I'm using the word progressing because if I've put weight on again, I need to know what's going on there with me, and I need to adjust that because that's something that hasn't happened for me while I've been on the keto carnivore lifestyle. I've always kind of lost. It's been kind of like that. Every now and then I'll bump up, but not dramatically. It's just you've been 100 grams here or there, but I've picked up a kilo, which I know doesn't seem like a lot, but for me, because I'm small, it's kind of a lot, Excuse me. I've got to keep remembering to look at the camera, which is this side of me, not this side, which is weird. Apparently you're supposed to turn your camera around for a better angle, and that might be easier for me to do actually, but kind of easier for me to look at myself when I'm talking to you guys. But somebody told me that it's better if you turn your camera around and look at the actual camera, and that way you can focus a bit better. I might have to do that. So since last Sunday, I have eaten out Sunday lunch, Sunday dinner, Monday lunch, Monday dinner, Tuesday lunch, Tuesday dinner, a Friday dinner, today lunch. So I've eaten out a lot in a 7-day period. So my point there is I'm really keen to see if the carnivore lifestyle hinders me. Well, it doesn't actually. That's the answer to the question. The carnivore lifestyle doesn't hinder me from eating out. I can still do that and really enjoy myself. I did drink alcohol on Sunday, and I had a scotch last night. This is the journey that I'm going along. This is part of the reason I'm doing this channel, to keep me accountable, to keep my alcohol levels low. And in the last 3 months, alcohol and me have become less friends. It's making me feel rough every time I drink it. It doesn't even really matter if I just have one. Like one scotch last night, I could barely finish it, and I just know I'm not enjoying it as much. So I know that's my body telling me it's time to give it up. But it's one of those things it's just that last little. I guess it's a bit of rebellion. I have a bit of a rebellious soul, and I've pretty much given everything else up. If you're on a carnivore diet, you don't have sugar, carbs, you give up a lot. And I'm happy to do that because I feel so good on the carnivore lifestyle. But I didn't want to give up my alcohol. Reason being because I kind of like the way it made me feel. But like I said, all of a sudden that's stopped. And so I know for my best health moving forward into my 50s and beyond, alcohol needs to stop being part of my life. It's just me getting my head around that and making that decision. So every time I have it and I feel rough, that decision's just a little bit easier. Today I went with my family. We went for lunch at our local RSL club, and it was actually really easy for me not to drink, which is a surprise because I was with my sister who she drinks, and I always drink when I'm with her. It's a very social thing to do. And she was drinking, and she said, "You're not going to have a drink?" And I said, "Actually, no, I'm not going to have a drink. I just don't really feel like my body needs it at the minute." And I was actually being really truthful with that. Anyone who knows me personally knows that I like to drink, and I've always had a drink. I've been I'm a bit of a yay, good time girl. But that's happening less and less with me. So I'm really just allowing this to gently transition. I know I'm going to get to the point where I don't want to drink anymore. I've seen lots of my friends have problems with alcohol, and I know how destructive that can be to them and their family and friends. So I know that the dangers of alcohol, and I know it's not on the carnivore protocol. I know that it's not good for me. So cheers to not drinking alcohol. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is that since starting this channel, a lot of people, and I've been starting a group on Facebook as well, a lot of people have said that they'd be really keen to try carnivore. And I've said, yep, okay, happy to do a group and we'll support each other. And then a couple of people actually said, actually, I would really like to do that. Do you think we can? And so the reality of that then kicked in for me. And I kind of thought, wow, I went into carnivore from keto, and initially dirty keto and then cleaner keto and then into carnivore. Anybody who's on the carnivore diet right now or carnivore way of eating, can you just drop a comment and let me know whether you transitioned in to carnivore from keto or whether you went straight onto the carnivore protocol, and how did you find that? I want to be able to talk to people in my group about, I want to be able to support them the best way I can, but I know how I feel about giving up little things, and I know that going from the standard American Australian diet straight into carnivore, man, there's lots of things you have to give up. So you have to be absolutely ready for that. And for me, carnivore, it wasn't such a big step because I'd already been on the keto for 2.5 years. So I knew that just by giving up vegetables, I wasn't going to feel like, I was being really hindered. And actually I knew by giving up vegetables, I was going to feel better for it. So if you've got any experience with that, can you just let me know, drop a comment and let me know how difficult that was for you. Do you think I'm asking people to stretch too far, maybe to start keto first and then transition into carnivore? Or do you think people could do it? I mean, I guess they're not going to know until they try. I thought about doing a 30-day carnivore sort of challenge to see how you went. And then I thought, well, when you haven't done carnivore ever, 30 days seems like a really long time. So then I thought maybe we could do like a week to start with. We could just say, let's go for a week. Because I can remember the first day I did carnivore, I think I kind of thought in my head, gosh, can I do this for a day? I didn't even know if I could do it for a day. And of course I could, and now I'm 8 months in. So of course it's doable. But like I said, that was from, the keto space. I'm not sure how people will go with carnivore. So any suggestions would be fantastic. Also, any videos that you could recommend on how to transition straight into carnivore. I've got a few that I've seen, and I know that YouTube is a wealth of knowledge. But if you've seen a video that you think is really powerful, that tells people the best way to go about that, that would be great. And I guess it's just trial and error. It's just, I guess, wait and see. I guess if people want it bad enough and they feel the benefits enough, that's the way to do it. Also, I suppose for me, I went into keto for weight loss, but I went into carnivore for discomfort because I knew vegetables were upsetting my gut. I have FODMAPs issues, and so I knew by giving them up I was going to feel better. I didn't know how much better I was going to feel, but I knew I was going to feel better. So like I said, any suggestions would be great. Also, I have been watching the 4 fabulous guys, Dave, Larry, Kip and Sean, do their live on YouTube tonight. I'm not sure whose video it is. I think it could be intentional carnivores. I'm not sure, but I'm sure if you go on there, it'll be tagged on one of their sites, and I'll tag it here if I can figure out how to do that. I still haven't figured out how to do the picture here thing on YouTube, but I'm getting better. I figured out how to get my camera to fill the whole screen rather than tiny. So I'm getting there, and I looked at a few editing apps and things like that. If you want questions answered, or you just want a bit of a cackle, or you want an overview on how they live their carnivore life, it was quite a big live tonight. I didn't quite finish it to come down here, but they always make me laugh. They're funny, man. They're funny together. And Kip, I don't even think he realizes he's funny. He was talking about Harry the hemorrhoid tonight, and like it's funny stuff. They're really open and real. All of them today spoke about alcohol. And all of them, it seems, have had battles with alcohol. So I'm certainly not the only one that's had battles with the carnivore lifestyle and alcohol. They've all managed to give it up really, really well. Larry was saying that he had a big problem with alcohol, and he's given it up completely, and the benefits that he's had from that's been incredible. Like I said, all of them. I'm not sure about Kip. I think Kip was a moderate drinker, but the other three, yes, definitely had problems with alcohol and are much, much better for giving it up. So I think that's really reassuring, but definitely worth a watch. Definitely worth a watch. Also, who did I watch today? Kip. I watched one of Kip's Carnivore Kip's videos, and I'll tag him, on how yesterday he posted a video where he'd only lost 6 pounds in a month. And I think Kip is about 380 pounds now, and he's lost nearly 100 pounds. So he was upwards to 500 pounds on the old scale. I don't know what that is in kilos. He's so inspiring. He's married with a daughter. I think he's got one daughter. He lives in the deep south in America, loves shrimp. So he's a man after my own heart. He gets out every day or every other day for a run, or he started to jog now. And he's so real about his journey. And I think that's so refreshing. And that's what I want to do as well. I want to keep my channel real. I'm not going to be an angel. It's not my jam. So if I have a drink, I will say I've had a drink. I don't often step off the wagon food-wise with carnivore, because I have done it, and I've got this thing where if somebody invites me for a meal, I've had a few meals recently where they've been degustations, so 5 or 8 courses, and they're tiny little courses on these little beautiful plates, and I've been invited and I've been the guest of somebody, so they've paid for me to go. And in that situation, I'm never going to put my dietary needs, because I don't suffer terribly with the sizes of, if it's a piece of cauliflower that big, I'm not going to struggle. And I wouldn't impose my dietary choices on them if I've been invited out. So for instance, recently we went on a degustation. I think there was 5 courses, and then 3 courses after the savory part, they were all dessert that I could have knocked back, but the cost of that meal was just, and I didn't pay for it, I was their guest. It was just so exorbitant. So I'd said to myself, I allow myself to eat these things and to enjoy every mouthful of those things. And then the next day or the next meal, I'm going to go straight onto my carnivore way of eating. And carnivore and keto have been the only way of eating that I've been able to do that. Previously, if I've been trying to lose weight or trying to follow a healthy eating program, the second that I fall off the wagon, I'm immediately telling myself, well, it's too late now, you may as well just keep going. And for some reason, with carnivore, I don't do that. I know I allow myself to have those moments where I eat off my plan, off my normal way of eating. But immediately I can go straight back on to carnivore. And I think that's why it's been so easy for me, this keto carnivore journey, because I'm not punishing myself the way I used to punish myself. Also, I think that's because I'm not bloody starving all the time. So I think I've said on one of my videos, I've been to Weight Watchers. I'm a lifetime member. First time when I was 11 years old, and probably 8 times from 11 till adulthood. And so I've achieved my lifetime goal. And every time I went to Weight Watchers, I lost weight every time, but all I thought about was food, from the first thing in the morning to the last thing at night. And even with the changes that Weight Watchers gave me, you know, they made things easier because they give you free foods. I still was always starving. So if I fell off, that sense of sheer joy because I was so restricted beforehand just made me go into this food frenzy. And so I would keep going, you know, like I'd keep overeating or eating badly until I thought, well, you either have to give yourself a shake, you've put on 2 kilos, or you just need to go off. And towards the end, I just used to say, oh, to hell with it, I'm not going to keep doing this because I can't sustain it. And with keto and carnivore, that's never happened to me because I'm not starving all the time. With carnivore, today I've had one meal. I had today a Scotch fillet. In Australia, it's called Scotch fillet. In America, it's called a ribeye. We don't very often get it on the bone, and they fillet off most of the fat. You still get some of the fat in the middle part. So with a ribeye, there's a big like eye of meat that's covered in fat, and then there's a smaller bit, and sometimes it's on a curved bone. I've only just learned this, by the way. I thought they were 2 different things. With Scotch fillet, they take the eye part off and they'll leave some of the intramuscular fat and a little bit around the outside. And I had one of those today. And I really enjoyed that with butter. Just ask them at the counter, just cook it medium. Can I have some butter? And man, they gave me a ton of butter. It was in like a container. I actually took it home for my dad's dog, the butter. There was so much. And anything that anybody else didn't eat, I took home for my dad's dog. And I had some prawns that had a slight pepper coating on them, which would probably have had some carbs in it. But I don't get too wound up about that stuff. It's so minimal. I don't get too wound up about that stuff because I don't do it all the time. I don't eat out all the time. I've just eaten out a lot this week. So at home, I'm not bothered because I cook my own meat. And up until about 20 minutes ago, I ate that at about 1 o'clock. Up until about 20 minutes ago, I wasn't hungry at all. And then my husband had something to eat. And so, of course, you see somebody eating and that triggers. And I thought, oh, I could eat now. But actually, while I'm having this electrolyte drink, I probably don't need food. I probably haven't had enough calories today. That is my only concern. That's another thing I'm going to really look at if I do this 30-day challenge, is making sure I'm having enough calories in a day because I don't want to undereat. Larry, in the video I was talking about today in Carnivore Quest, was saying that he got to a point where he was only having 1 meal a day as well and really not eating enough calories, and you hit a stall. And I don't want to do that. And actually, when I went to Europe this year in early April, I was eating 3 times a day, which I never normally do. I usually only eat twice a day. And I was for sure thought I was going to put weight on. Actually, when I got back, I'd lost weight, like lost nearly 2 kilos, which I couldn't believe, being on a European holiday for a month. And I'd had things that were coated, like I was very heavily carnivore. I only ate meat until we got to Italy, and I had promised myself gelato in Italy because ice cream is my kryptonite. Like literally, it's so dangerous for me. So the first time I had the gelato, oh my God, it was so delicious. And then 2 days later, I had it twice. That was a mistake. And very fortunately, because my body doesn't have any nasties in it, once I could get away with having it twice in a day, no, I felt so sick. There's so much sugar. My body just rejected it. So it was probably a good thing for me to do because I didn't have it again for the rest of the trip. So again, I will always be transparent and tell you I'm not perfect by any means. I'm living a carnivore lifestyle. And the other day I decided to call it silivore, not carnivore, because it's how I do carnivore. Because like a lot of people, you know, in the world, everyone has their own way of doing things. Some people just eat red meat. They just have a lion diet. So all they have is red, like beef basically, and water. And I'm never going to do that. That's not me. I need excitement on my palate. And even though today's steak was beautiful, every mouthful, if that's all I had to look forward to, no variety, I couldn't do that. So because I love chicken wings, I love pork, so I need that. I love shrimp or prawns, you know, I love all that variety. So I think I'm going to be really conscious on this 30-day like carnivore challenge, just to see how I go. I might track my macros. I don't tend to do that anymore. That's one of the joys of carnivore for me. I might track my macros just for the experience to see how I go food-wise, how many calories I get into a day. And sometimes I undereat and sometimes I don't undereat. I think for me, my macros would probably be about 1,800 calories. But I've ever broken them down into fats and proteins, basically. I would prefer to be higher fat. I think for me, that's better. I think if I'm low fat, I do tend to get hungry, and I never limit myself on fats. If I'm standing and cooking, it's nothing for me to cut off a little bit of butter and just chew on that, which I have to say, if you told me 3 years ago that that was something I was going to do, I think you were mental. But the joy, like instantly, if I'm feeling a little bit of flat, you know, a bit like bleh, or I'm not happy, it's like a child having a lolly. It's like the satisfaction I get from eating that bit of butter, and particularly if I put a bit of salt on it, you've no idea the joy that brings me. And because I want to be more high-fat carnivore, I never think about it, I just do it. So I will hopefully track macros just so that if there's anybody coming along with me in my group, that they can see what I'm doing. I've got some information about that that I'll read up in a book I've got at home in the house called Keto for Dummies, that I like was my Bible. It's so well fingered, that book initially, and that's talking about your macros, so I will look all of that up. And yeah, so I just wanted to share with you, I will get on the scales tomorrow and do a short. Last time I weighed in, I think I was 61.2. I'm always scared to put my weight on, to take a picture of my weight. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but I'm always naked when I weigh in, like everyone is. So I don't want to take a picture because I know my scale's white. I know it will reflect up. Nobody wants to see that. So I might get somebody else to take just a picture of the number, and hopefully there'll be no reflection. Nobody wants to see that. And I'll let you guys know how I went, and yeah, go from there. Anyway, I just wanted to touch base. Back to work tomorrow after being away from work for 10 days. So I wanted to make a video while I had time and just say hi to everyone. And thanks for those people who are commenting. Thanks, Kip. I know you commented on my video, so I hope you see this one. I don't know if you've subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, click the link and subscribe. I'd love some company. I'd love people to share with me their journey as well. And just, I'd love to be able to get out there and tell everyone. Dr. Berry always says, if you don't share, then you can't help. And that is so true. And I'm by no means an expert. I've got no medical or nutritional background, not enough to give you any advice. All I can do is give you my personal experiences. And I would hope that that would be enough for you to maybe think that this might be a way of eating for you. It could help you change some things in your body, change how you feel about yourself, change your sleep, your future health. My sleep, my God, I sleep like a log now, which is so incredible. That in itself is worth doing carnivore for, let me tell you. I digress. I won't keep waffling. Anyway, I'll do a short tomorrow and just let you know how I got on. Thanks for listening. Click the link down below and subscribe. Like and subscribe. I'm getting so much better. Thanks for staying with me. Bye.